brother Hyder from Connecticut, and sister Wajiha from New York. We're going to be discussing the event that occurred on April 25th, 1925, or the 8th of Shawwal on the Islamic calendar, when Ibn Saud demolished Jannat al-Baqi, one of the holiest cemeteries in the world. Now, there's many things till, of course, this event that occurred. Now, every year, because of this, people, try to bring attention to this tragedy, this oppression that occurred, that they demolished this holy cemetery. So maybe some people don't know what Janatul Baqi is. So let's first talk about what is Janatul Baqi. What's the story behind it? Sister Wajiha, could you tell us the story behind Janatul Baqi? What does Janatul Baqi mean?
Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. Thank you so much for inviting me here, Sayyid Muhammad. Well, the Jannat al-Baqi actually means the heaven, the garden of heaven. It is actually the Baqi, which is the Baqi al-Karkad. I don't know if I could... Oh, you can't hear? Sorry. Can you hear now? Sayyid Muhammad, can you hear now? Hello?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So, Jannat al-Baqi meaning the heaven, the gardenly heaven, and it's actually originated Baqi al-Gargad. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but the orchids of the box thorns, and the formation behind the story of this was where Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, was doing the construction of the mosque in Medina, and then there were this land that was bayits that two orphans had, and then he bought it off from them, and that's where he buried one of the companions of his the Sahabas there. And then over there also a lot of thousands of the Sahabas lay there, thousands of Muslim important scholars lay there, and of course the Ahlul Bayt,
Okay.
Fatima alayhi salam, and a lot of Imams also lay there in Jannat al-Baqi.
Yes, exactly. So Sister Regia just went over some of the history of Janatul Baqi. Thank you for that. Brother Ali Reza, Assalamu alaikum. How are you
Alaikum
doing today?
assalam. Good, alhamdulillah.
Yes, Brother Ali Reza, like I mentioned, we just went over some of the basic history of Janatul Baqi. Could you tell us, when you did research, who are some of the people that were buried in Janatul Baqi? What are some of the big personalities that were buried there?
Assalamu alaikum, Rasulullah. Assalamu alaikum, Imam Zman Islam. Assalamu alaikum, dear Syed Muhammed, and everyone. And some of the personalities which rested in Jannatul Baqi are one of the leaders of the youth of paradise, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, is buried in Jannatul Baqi. Imam Ali Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, Imam Muhammed Baqir alayhi salam, and Imam Jafri Sadiq alayhi salam are buried in Jannatul Baqi. According to one narration, Sadiqa Tahira Hazrat Bibi Fatima Salamullah alayha, her grave is also there in Jannatul Baqi. It is said the Holy Prophet's Sallallahu alayhi Muhammad, the father, was also transferred there. Besides the followers and lovers of Ahlul Bayt, Islam are buried there. Nearly 7,000 companions of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam are buried there. The first companion buried in al-Baqi was Usman ibn Madhun. The Prophet's son Ibrahim was buried there. Among other Prophet's relatives buried there are his aunt Sophia and Atika. His aunt Fatima bint al-Asad, the mother of Imam Ali alayhi salam, is also buried there. Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam's mother, Banin alayhi salam, and Hazrat Aqil ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, the paternal cousin of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad, and Hazrat Abdullah ibn Jafri Tayyar alayhi salam, the husband of Hazrat Zainab bint Ali salamullah alayha, are also buried in Jannatul Baqi. Bait al-Ahzan, made by Imam Ali alayhi salam to mourn the death of her father, is said to be present in Jannatul Baqi.
There it is. Okay, yeah, so made pretty good points. There's a lot of very important people buried there. Like we mentioned, Janatul Baqi was a very, beautiful cemetery. It was a huge place where, millions around the world used to visit. Before that time of 1925, it was, a huge place, a huge holy area. Brother Hyder, assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today? Yes. So, Brother Hyder, like you heard, we were talking about, the history of Janatul Baqi. We were talking about that atmosphere that it was like before that time of 1925. Brother Hyder, can you tell us what happened during 1925? Why are people outraged over this? Why are they upset of what happened? Yes, Brother Hyder, could you tell us why people are, can you tell us what happened during 1925, and can you explain to us why are people outraged over this? Why are people upset? Brother Hyder, yeah, I don't think you can hear it. Okay, so up to this point, we were discussing many things. We were talking about Janatul Baqi, how Janatul Baqi was before the event of 1925. Janatul Baqi was a beautiful area where millions across the world would come to visit and pay their respects to the, the huge personalities that were buried there. The main people were, there were thousands of course, companions of the Prophet, as well as, the four Imams, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, Imam Muhammad Baqir, Imam Jafar Sadiq. So this was a huge area where, so many of these, huge personalities were buried. Brother Hyder, can you hear the sound now? Okay, so huge event that happened. I'm gonna start to say, the basic outline of what happened. At the event of 1925, when Ibn Saud he came to demolish Janatul Baqi. He ordered to demolish Janatul Baqi, and the reason he did this was because the Saudis' idea, the Wahhabism, and had the idea that going to these graves, going to these different shrines, was in the same line as idolatry or the worship. So it was like worshiping them. So the Wahhabis saw it as this, that you can't have that. That the people are going there to Janatul Baqi, that they're worshiping these these holy personalities. So that's okay, good. So Brother Hyder, glad to have you on
Yes, can you hear me?
the show. Yes, I can hear you. How are you doing today?
Good, how are you? Alhamdulillah. How are you?
Good. I'm doing great. So Brother Hyder, like I was talking about, we had just mentioned earlier, we were about the history of Janatul Baqi, how Janatul Baqi, how it formed, what Janatul Baqi was like, before 1925. Brother Hyder, can you tell us what happened on 1925? What happened to Janatul Baqi, and why are people upset over this?
So, as you said earlier, but prior to that time, from the mid 19th century onwards, up till this 1925, the 8th of Shawwal, everyone was visiting, and it was actually a very nice area. It was a very nice mosque with minarets, and it was decorated, and it had the respect of a usual Muslim that we visit usually with all the other imams. However, um, as Ali Saud got in power, you saw that they believed, because it was the Wahhabi concept, the Wahhabi model. At the time, obviously at the same time, the Wahhabis were allied with Ali Saud and the still are. But because of this alliance, they had this misconception that there's a bid'ah when you try to build a monument or a decoration piece over a grave,
Yeah.
and because of this, they thought it was idolatry, and they fully denounced it, and they decided it would be best to destroy it, which it's obviously a you can't, like, it's a unfair thing to say. Like, people sometimes consider grave worshippers because of this, because of what we believe in for 14 Masumi alayhi salam. However, that's not the case. Obviously, we believe in the 14 Masumi alayhi salam, and we try to learn from them. However, we obviously ultimately believe in God, so there's a misconception in their minds, and that's what caused them to do this, and which is very unfair.
Yes, definitely. Can you tell us, we were talking about what they did to Janatul Baqi, and, one of the things that they did was, of course, they destroyed it because they said that, you can't have that, a cemetery area, you can't have those graves near that holy place of worship. Are there any other examples? Can you give us some other examples or some other graves where there's a shrine, erected where people worship there? Can you give us another example of that?
Sorry, could you repeat the question? You cut off a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the question was, can you give me another example of a place where, can be considered like that, where a holy shrine where people go to worship that hasn't been destroyed?
Obviously, I mean, right next to it is Masjid al-Nabawi with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And obviously we have all the graves and the shrines of the other 11 imams. Oh, sorry, not 11 imams, because 4 imams are buried in Janatul Baqi. But aside from that, the ones buried in Iran and Iraq, although they have been damaged over the course of years due to various terrorist attacks, now, alhamdulillah, we're able to visit them now, and it's a lot more safer. But in this case, in Janatul Baqi, under the supervision of the Wahhabis, it's very hard for us to visit it and truly mourn at their graves.
Yeah, it makes you think what happens, like, because you look at this example, one of the main I think of is, Prophet Isa or, Jesus. I mean, imagine what would happen if, somebody tried to destroy that. There would be massive outrage. There'd be so many people would be angry. So it makes you wonder, how we need to get more people towards this cause. Because we look at these holy personalities like, Imam Hassan alayhi salam, Imam Jafri Sadiq, Imam, Muhammad Baqir, and all the other people buried there. You see that this is a huge problem that we need to, try and get people to seeing this. This is a question for all three of our guests, everyone here. We can start with anyone. What have you guys been doing, or, what have you been trying to do to try to, send this message, try to show people about what happened during Janatul Baqi? Brother, Sister Wajiha, could you? Or, yeah, Brother Ali?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Uh, I would suggest the people over there should rebuild it, because due to the coronavirus pandemic, the guards are like off duty or something. So I think it will be much safer if they would build it.
Yeah, inshallah. That's the goal.
Inshallah.
Inshallah, we can, even the little things that we do, inshallah, we can try to, get enough people towards this so that, the Saudi government, inshallah, sees to rebuild this. Sister Wajiha, what do you think we can do to try to make a difference for this cause?
Well, most of all, awareness. I think that a lot of people, because of misconceptions around the world around about Shia Muslims particularly, that we use these grave shrines and we built them around grave sites because we want to worship them, and it's considered haram. And we know that we don't do this. Astaghfirullah. We obviously pray to the one only Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and this is a huge misconception. And even among my Sunni friends, they have this ideology that that we even the Shias go to Hajj at Imam Ali alayhi salam's shrine, and I'm like, that is completely false. There's so much
Wow.
misconception around the world around about Shiism, and they have no idea, and they blindly follow it because of their scholars. Unfortunately, some who obviously are doing the propaganda and spreading these misconceptions to create more division and hatred towards the minority of Muslims, Shias. And I believe the biggest thing that we can do is help clear those misconceptions, first starting among our Sunni friends who believe this, and then starting from there, when we clear their misconceptions, then there'll be like an inspiration that'll spark between us, a unity, and then we could stand together and then come together as one, and then inshallah, make the population of the protests or the demonstrations greater and have more voices involved, and then inshallah, succeed in rebuilding Jannat al-Baqi.
Yeah, definitely. You had some good points about how, the misconception. Unfortunately, a lot of people see that, these imams and the people buried there were just for Shia. But, that's not correct. The imams and the different people buried in Jannat al-Baqi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent all these people as an example for us, a way that, how to live, how to act. So the first thing that we should do is, trying to show people that, because, imagine if, of course, after demolishing that, of course they tried to, go after Prophet Muhammad's grave in Masjid al-Nabawi, of course. But, the Prophet, of course, is for everyone. So we have to also try to see that the people buried in Jannat al-Baqi, the imams, they're not just for Shia. They're really for all Muslims, everyone across the world. So, Brother Hyder,
Also, if I might add,
what do you?
sorry.
Yes, yes.
Actually, there's also like a lot of Sahabas there. Of the, people say that, oh, Shias don't follow in the Sahabas, but we do follow the Sahabas who follow the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the Ahlul Bayt. And there are Sahabas there that are buried that we do, appreciate and respect. And because there are Sahabas there and the Ahlul Bayt there and Muslim scholars there should be a universal respect of Muslims for Jannat al-Baqi, and we should all come together for this. But unfortunately, again, the misconceptions.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was mentioning, you see the differences, between a place like Jannat al-Baqi, how many holy personalities are buried there, and how there's really not enough people who are upset about this, enough people who are trying to make a difference for this. When we're coming on 100 years of Jannat al-Baqi being destroyed. It was destroyed in 1925. It's 2020, 5 years, and it's going to be 100 years since their graves have been demolished. Brother Ali, so what do you think? What are some of the things that you can do, or our viewers out there can do, so that we can try to make a difference, try to spread the message?
Um, Things that we should do, we should it is very important to it is very important to rebuild Jannat al-Baqi for Muslims to have affliction with their sacred and blessed history, and and we should also try to acknowledge our Muslim brothers. about Janatul Baqi and the history of Janatul Baqi, so our Muslim brothers can learn more about it and help Janatul Baqi settle again and
Yeah.
rebuild it.
Yeah, inshallah, that's our main goal. That, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but inshallah, one day Jannatul Baqi is rebuilt and, the Imam's graves were able to go there again, inshallah. Brother Hyder, what are some of the things that you have done to try and, spread this cause of Jannatul Baqi, spread the injustice that's going on? What are some of the things that you have done?
So as Brother Ali just mentioned, the best thing we can do is to raise awareness, whether it be with our Muslim brothers or even, non-Muslim people, just to raise awareness and bring this issue to a global level. So actually, just last night, we actually held a candlelight vigil, obviously with social distancing, in Connecticut,
Yeah,
right
definitely.
outside our mosque. So this idea of gathering together and all uniting for the same message and all having that true goal in our hearts of inshallah rebuilding Jannat al-Baqi and getting the support of as many people as we can to tell Al Saud that it's obviously it's not fair. And I mean, if you look at it, it looks as if earthquake was there or it was a war-torn area, but it's not. It was just doing by its own people, its own citizens. So we just have to really raise awareness and not just on the day of not just on the day that it occurred and on its anniversary, but every single
Yeah.
day we must strive and work together to inshallah rebuild this holy cemetery.
Of course. I mean, that's our main goal, to try to spread the message, try to tell people about this, people who weren't aware of it already. I have a story, something I did. This was a few years ago. You know how there were these, the protests for Janatul Baqi, the different protests. So one specific example is a few years ago, I think it was about 3 years ago or something. We were in New York, and I was going to one of these things. And you know how you have to walk, you have to hold the signs, this and that. So one of the things I had to do was me and a couple of other people, we had to hand out the flyers. So we were handing out the flyers to these different people, everyone walking by. We had something crazy. It was like 500 flyers or something. And at first we thought, how are we going to do this? So we're handing out all the different flyers. And of course, there's a lot of different people in New York. Some people care about it. Some people don't care. You hand them the flyers. Some people take it. Some people don't. But there was one specific person who came up to us. And everyone else, we just gave them the flyer. They either took it or they didn't, and they walked away. But this person, when I handed him the flyer, the guy was actually asking questions. I gave him the flyer, and I was even kind of surprised. I was like, here's this flyer, fight for the cause, Janatul Baqi. And the guy's like, so what is Janatul Baqi? And I was like kind of surprised that this guy's asking questions. And, we told him about it. We told him, the injustice that the Saudis did and, the demolish of these holy places. And, it goes to the example that even if, you inform one person, even if you tell one person who didn't know about this earlier, just one person, it really makes a difference. So even if we can, tell our family members, tell our friends, tell our neighbors about this, it makes a big difference, even if it's one person. So another question is, why do you guys think it's important to safeguard these holy places? Why do you think it's so important? Sister
If I
Wajiha?
may start. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, when we safeguard these holy shrines or these significant places, it's about remembrance. Now, humans, we forget often. I mean, we say that don't repeat the history or learn from your past, but we don't. We often repeat the mistakes that we did in the past. That's because we humans are forgetful. It is even stated that in the Holy Quran that around 700 times it is mentioned to pray. I mean, prayers is one of the significant pillars and one of the significant acts to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's mentioned over 700 times. And if it's all about remembrance. And when we some protect and we remember and we signify these places, we are also bringing the importance, the history, and learning again that what these people have done in Islam and have done to teach us and what they have went through. Like for example, we take Karbala, we go there, we remember, and our remembrance becomes stronger and stronger at every step we take in there. That's because it has such spiritualism. It brings such relaxation. It brings remembrance. It brings, tears and sorrow that who Imam Hussein alayhi salam was and what he did for us, for Islam. And what we Muslims today, we have the freedom because of him. So protecting these places and, I guess, commemorating with it and celebrating with it, we are remembering who we are and remembering how to be better Muslims day by day, by remembering these significant companions and these significant Ahlul Bayt figures.
Yeah, and even you look at, if you compare the time, like, so many years ago, like 500 years ago, when you had to send a message, what do? You get on your horse and you give it all the way over there. Now we have, technology in our hands. We have that you can just send a message to somebody. So something like this, Genital Baki, I can just send a message to, 50 of my relatives in a minute. It's that easy. So we look at the advantage that we have now, how much easier it is compared to, everyone else. So we should be able to make a huge difference. Brother Ali Reza, what do you think about this? What do you think the importance of is safeguarding these holy places? What do you think that's so important?
Man, is important because we can just stand outside our house with a play card, which helps raise awareness about Janatul Baqi. And it is also important. Yeah. It is also important because Janatul Baqi has those holy imams and those holy personalities buried over there, and a lot of old Islamic historical memories over there buried.
Yeah, definitely. Like Sister Wajiha was saying, it's basically, we can learn, we take what we, from their lives and we can learn from it. As we know, they're the best examples on earth. They're, the walking Qurans. So we can look at their lives and what they did, and that's how we learn from it. So, inshallah, people can, take the things that, these imams went through, and that's why we love them so much. That's why we go to their harams and we go to their, different places, because of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them down as an example. How, He wants us to look at their lives. He wants us to look at everything they did and take from it. Brother Hyder, why do you think, safeguarding these holy places, why do you think they're so important?
So actually, Sister Wajiha really touched on it when she said that the whole idea is to remember them, and through that, that's how we build a better version of ourselves. Like the very version that we go for a ziyarat, we go for arba'in, we go to umrah, we go to hajj. It's all to not obviously to visit these sites, but ultimately the end goal is to bring yourself closer to God. Qurbatan ilallah. We have to really build a better version of ourselves, whether it be through seeking tawassul, understanding the lives of the imams, and really just getting a grip of what our belief really is and what the reality of our religion and are. And obviously, when you have an area such as Janatul Baqi, and if you go right now, you'll see it's just such a rundown area. There's police officers, and it's such a confusing area, because when you look at it, like the way that we have all of our imams, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, like shrine, it's decorated with gold, diamond. It's beautiful, and then you see the graves of these four imams, and it doesn't feel right that it's number one. It's being held by Wahhabis who are in and of itself literally enemies of the 14 Masumeen Islam. And on top of that, they're not allowing anything to be built there just to commemorate them. Because obviously, we are praying towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but through learning through their lives and through understanding them, through visiting them often, we get a better understanding of how we should live our life. And when you have an area that's as torn down as it is right now, there's not much you can do.
Yes, and Brother Hyder, I heard that you went for ziyarat last year with your family. Can you tell us what was your experiences going to the Arba'in walk? All those people together for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. What was your experience with that?
Yeah, so our rain, it was, I mean, magical because I think the most impactful part of that trip was obviously the walk, and it was just astounding, amazing just to see like millions and millions of people walking with you. There's obviously no technology, no nothing there. Everyone was just walking, whether it be higher class to lower class, from the east side of the world to the west side of the world. Everyone is just united as one. They're all walking for one cause and one message, and that's Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And I find that really amazing in the sense that you're able to see the world gather for one thing, and that's what really stuck out to me. And it it provoked a new sense of understanding in a way. I was able to really sit down and reflect and ponder like what is our goal here on life and on obviously on earth. What is our life's duty? What do we need to do in our limited time to get closer to God and preach the message of Tawheed? And I think that's the number one thing I learned from that trip was to, well, obviously the importance to self-reflect and the importance of spreading the message of Tawheed and Islam to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and that's the goal for everything. That the unity that they have during Arba'in, like you mentioned, everyone walking for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the millions of people. Inshallah, that's the goal that we wish to have for the month of Ramzan. The goal that we wish to have is, I mean, no, not Ramzan. The goal that we wish to have for Janatul Baqi is that there's not enough people on this cause. Like we've been saying through the entire show, that inshallah, if we can get that unity, we can try and tell some people about it. We can really get that worldwide unity that it's not those imams and the people in Janatul Baqi, the whole cemetery. They're not just for a certain group of people. They're for everyone. So inshallah, we can use that example of Arba'in and how everyone is for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, everyone walks for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, everyone cries for Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Inshallah, we can use that example as a way that what we can do for Janatul Baqi. So that inshallah, like you mentioned, it's not just one day that we try and get that one day we remember Janatul Baqi. We do it every day. Brother, Sister Wajiha, and Brother Ali, did you guys ever go for ziyarat? What are your experiences?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I've been to ziyarat before, a long time ago, probably some years ago, but the experience to ziyarat was very miraculous, because when I went to Hazrat Abbas's holy shrine, a miracle happened with me, but also when I went to those holy places like Imam Hussein alayhi salam and like Qazman
Yeah.
and like where Imam Musa Qazim alayhi salam's shrine and Imam Ali Raza's shrine, also it was a very holy place. It was also very peaceful over there. It wasn't like there was no peace. Like there was peace, and it was a really godly place.
Yeah, definitely these holy shrines, these holy areas. Even with so many people there, it's such a peaceful area. It's the place where our souls want to go. We want to go to Karbala. We want to go for ziyarat. Sister Wajiha, do you have any experiences? Have you ever went for
Yes,
ziyarat?
actually, 2018, I went to Imam Ali Islam Shrine. I went to Najaf and Karbala. I actually went to Imam Ali Islam Shrine on the Veladat of Imam Ali Islam, and so I
Oh
got to see the
wow, that
celebration. And yeah, it was amazing, and I got to see the decoration being put up, and everybody coming with colorful hijabs and colorful clothing, and they were like greeting one another, and they all had smiles, and they were praying over there, and it was really packed over there. And alhamdulillah, I'm very, very grateful that not only did I get to go to ziyarat, but I went to on a time that which it was, happy and, celebrations and a great day, honestly. And yeah, it felt very spiritual. You spiritually feel very, very calm over there. You feel like as if you belong there and you just want to stay there forever. You're like, this is my calling. Like I belong here. I belong with them. I wish I could stay here forever, honestly. But
yeah.
obviously we're pilgrimages and we're there to just visit. But inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, we go there often and get to experience this as much as we can in our lifetime.
Yeah, those are the best of places, the places where, you know, when you go, you don't want to leave there. When you go in the airport, you can feel kind of sad. I have a similar experience. I went last Arba'in. I actually went the same time as Brother Hyder, so I could have told the same thing. So, yeah, that's what I saw was that, there were so many people there. There was, it was packed. And, you felt so at home that, you're all there for Imam Hussein alayhi salam, at that time of Arba'in, the best of time, all the places where they have they have food for everyone. They have, there's people on the side, they're giving out food. And yeah, everyone, you just feel that they're all united, that everyone is one. We're all there for, Mama Saint Salam. So, and obviously it's full. It's really full. The day of Arba'in, the day before Arba'in, it's full. So, yeah. So, inshallah, our main goal should be that for Janatul Waqi, we should have the same outrage. We should have the same, try to do the same thing as if it was, Imam Hussein alayhi salam's shrine being, desecrated like that. As if it was Prophet Muhammad's shrine being desecrated. As if, these other holy sites. So, inshallah, what we can do is, even if we just tell one person, even if we just change the mind of one person, or if we tell our aunt or our uncle that they didn't previously know, and we just tell them about this, or whoever we tell about this, even if we do it online, that it makes a difference. Just telling one person makes a difference. So inshallah, we can take this message, and inshallah, one day we can see that Janatul Baqi being rebuilt. Inshallah, one day, justice will be served, and inshallah, Janatul Baqi will come back again. Well, that's all the time we have left for today. Thank you to everyone who participated in our program. Thank you to Brother Hyder, Brother Ali, Sister Wajiha for joining us on our program. So, well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for everyone who participated in our program. Now we're going to do Allahumma kulli waliyika for the safety and protection of our 12th Imam, and inshallah, our 12th Imam comes soon. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Allahumma kulli waliyika al-Hujjat ibn al-Hasan salawatuka alayhi wa ala ba'i fi hadhihi as-sa'a wa fi kulli sa'a وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Khuda Hafiz.